So we're going to go down to Khmori House here. So Khmori, this is a guy that came with Belichick from Washington, spent his freshman year down with Belichick at Washington. And I'm going to add this in too. So that I heard this stat yesterday. That Washington defense was ranked like 100 and something in total defense. Belichick got them 1 year, and we're talking about Steve, not Bill, but one year, man, and they finished like 29th last year.
Wow.
And his only season there. So obviously the Belichick's big defensive guys, but this is a one of a few Washington guys that came over, and Khmori he's shown some flashes. He was a high 3-star coming out of high school, some big time schools after him. So listen to this, boys. He had Auburn, Colorado, Notre Dame, Tennessee, and Texas. Those were some of his finalists before he picked Washington. And then when he hit the portal, 24/7 had him ranked as the number 2 linebacker in the whole portal. Wow. And, in this day of college football, he probably knew where he was going before he hit the portal. So obviously, but he had some big time interest when he did hit the portal. Some of the schools that had offered him was Arizona State, Florida, Michigan, Oklahoma, Oregon, USC. So all the big time college football programs offered him. But this is a guy that he's not as big as some of the linebackers. He's 6 foot 215. But this is a guy kind of like Evan, man. He's fast. He can get around on the field. I'm gonna play a clip here of him. So some of these highlights, boys, you'll see there's one in here that he had. I believe it's in here against USC where he stuffs them at the goal line, and he's at what I say 2 right here, man. This is a 4th down play to seal the game, and this is a true freshman coming in here and making this play. So he's played some ball at a high level. Made some plays for them. So I'm really, really excited about this kid's future. And I think he's going to be one of he's like you, man. He played young at a young age, and he's got some experience, and I think he's got a lot to grow into.
Man, I wasn't making plays like that when I was young, though. He looks like an awesome player, man. I'm excited, and he looks incredibly athletic. Like he's holding his weight well. Like I'm excited to see kind of the way they decide to use him. Where do we see him often? Like that's a guy that looks like you can play inside the box, outside the box. Let's get active with him on 3rd downs. Let him pass rush a little bit, get him out. Like I think there's so much you can do, and it'll be fun to see how they use him.
I completely agree.
I want to jump in here, man. The thing about Khmori, I want to say he was one of our first portal additions of the Belichick era, and at a time, with us here on the podcast, man, we're tapped into so many different group chats and in with the fan base, man. Okay. It was like a very stressful time before he committed of like, the anticipation of, who's Bill going to snag from the portal. And, we hope it's a linebacker because we're weak at linebacker. And, there were rumblings and stuff about Khmori, making his way to Chapel Hill. But, a guy that comes from Washington, I talked about it with Makai, a guy that comes from Washington, an elite program that's seen high-level football, and had production at the highest level. We roll the tape of him playing, and making plays like the USC play. You love to have that in your linebacker room, a guy that's, going to look for an increased role this year. That's why he came, right? I think he's going to be a staple of our defense this year. I really do. Just a guy you talk about. One of the things that I loved about some of the defenses you were on, Shaq, is you guys just played with, did he kick me? Am I good?
You're good.
Okay. All right. My bad. It kind of dropped me a little bit. But one of the things I loved about you guys, man, is you just played with a tenacity and a nose for the football. And we played your clip of the hit against Illinois. And just the swag that you guys played with. I think this is a guy that can bring some of that to us this year. I mean, you love guys like that. You love guys that are leaders, but you also love your alpha dogs too that come out there and make a hit and do some trash talking. I'll be honest with you. I think he's a little undersized for linebacker. Tell me if I'm wrong. 6 foot, like 6 foot 215. What's the measurables on that?
That's what they had him listed at.
That's what.
I naturally fall in that same bucket because, I feel like, I grew up watching Ray Lewis and Brian Urlacher. I don't see a 250-pounder out there, but Like I think I'm more of the belief now where it's like, yeah, we use that general range as like a starting point,
Yeah.
but let's be real. Like Telvin Smith was one of the best linebackers in the NFL at 218 when he was playing there. And so
Yeah.
if you can make plays, you can make plays.
Exactly.
I think of it same ways like that Will Campbell thing from this past draft, right? Like, yeah, his arms are a little bit shorter than most tackles, but at some point, let's turn on the tape. And if the guy's making plays, he's making plays. Like, we're good.
Yeah. I've often said that too on this podcast. So I'm glad you brought that up. I've always, and me, myself, I'm 5'6". I know I probably don't look 5'6" because I'm sitting down, but if I stand up, I'm not much taller than when I am sitting down. So, but it's like you said, man, you turn on the tape and the production's there. Be super anxious to see. I think he's poised for a really big role, not only just on the field, but a leadership role too. I think he's poised for that, and be anxious to see just how he turns up out there this season. I think he's a guy that I'm really, really high on. There's a couple more in this linebacker room that I'm high on, but I'm gonna start with Khmori.
Hey, Tar Pit crew. Thanks for tuning in today. You just heard a clip from a recent episode where we broke down one of the key position groups. If this episode hit the mark, do us a favor, like it, drop a comment, and share it with a friend. That kind of support keeps the podcast rolling. You can catch full episodes of the Tar Pit Podcast on Spotify and YouTube. Don't forget to follow and subscribe today. The Tar Pit Podcast is proudly powered by Untapped Sports Network. Thanks for listening, and as always, go Heels.